Should teenagers invest their money? I've been getting this question. I actually had a question just recently from a reader, and I'll share that with you. I have an unconventional answer for this. So if you have a teenager, or if you are a teenager, I think this will help. And there's one thing I want to talk about that you should absolutely never do if you're a teenage investor or really any other investor. So I got this question from a reader. It says this: I have a 16, almost 17-year-old who's watching social media clips about day trading. He's frugal with his money, but he hasn't taken any personal budgeting classes, nor has he explored what the Bible says about money. The foolish thinking of some of these Gen Z folks scares me, and the influence they can have on one another. What do you suggest for my 17-year-old? I remember being in college when the dot-com boom was going on in the early 2000s, and I had a handful of friends there who were making all kinds of money and were getting so rich investing in all these different stocks, these dot-com stocks that were going on at the time. And then it all blew up. Yeah, this whole thing in the late 90s and early 2000s just came to a peak. And then it was just complete frenzy, and everybody was making so much money until the whole bubble burst and it came crashing down. And so this was kind of my first taste of investing, was kind of seeing these guys around me who didn't really seem to know what they were doing, but who were making a lot of money investing in some of these companies. So in terms of advice for the 17-year-old, I do have some thoughts. I think number one is to let them make the mistakes now. And yes, no one wants to lose money. No one wants to watch their investment come crashing down. But when the stakes are so much lower, it's a much better time to kind of learn those lessons. So I'd much rather your 17-year-old lose money at that point, and that way they can learn these lessons at a young age, because when you lose money investing, it is one of the best lessons you can learn. I learned so much more from the money that I lost in certain investments than I did from a lot of different books I read. So it's an invaluable lesson to be losing some money on an investment. Now, the caveat here is to never, ever use margin when investing. And so if you have a 17-year-old or you are a 17-year-old who is beginning investing, and in your brokerage account or your investment account, they have an option for margin, which essentially is borrowing someone else's money to invest. You don't want to do that. It's bad enough if you're going to lose all of your own money. You don't want to lose someone else's money that you're borrowing and then have to pay that back. It just amplifies everything. And there have been some really tragic stories of inexperienced investors who have gotten themselves in big trouble by doing that. So that's one thing you never, ever want to do. Now, all that said, there is some really foolish stuff going on with investors who are just taking on massive risks, doing things that just don't make sense, especially when they're not educated on what to do. But you got to remember that experience can be a really good teacher. And so, yes, it's important to learn the fundamentals of how to do this the right way. This is why we created our 10X investing course, specifically to help show people how to do long-term investing the right way to minimize risk while still having really great results, long-term results, without taking some of the crazy risks of some of the day traders right now. And to be fair, some of the day traders, some of the crypto guys who are chasing the hottest crypto, like these methods can work. And for the ones who are really educated in it, they can make some money. But the thing that so many people forget is that if it goes up really fast, they can go down really fast. And so, yes, I've bought some crypto. I have some crypto that I've invested in. And, I've watched one investment go from $2,000 to $20,000. And that's really fun and exciting. But you have to remember that $20,000 can then go back down to $2,000. We've seen this cycle over and over again. And you have to be ready for that if you're going to step into that game. So as an investor, what I prefer and what I recommend is to have a foundation of really solid, safer investments that are proven and that have consistently churned out good returns over the last 100 years versus something that maybe has done well the last couple months. And so this is the foundation that I believe every investor needs to have, this safer long-term approach. And then on top of that, yes, if you want to play in some of the more speculative stuff, then yeah, we can do some of that. But that should be a small percentage of your portfolio. So for me, it's about 5 to 10% of my portfolio is in some of the more speculative stuff like crypto. And even still, with all that crypto and the speculative investments, I'm operating under the assumption that I'm going to lose it all. And so I hope I don't, and I hope it does go up 10 times or 20 times. But Point is I'm comfortable if I were to lose it all. And that's how you have to be thinking about some of the really speculative investments. Now, another question I've been getting asked a lot about our investing course is, can I take my teenager through this? Can I go with them? Can they go through this? Are they going to be able to understand? And one of the things that I feel like I specialize in is making complicated things simple and easy to understand. And so while I've taken some super complicated investing classes myself that have been really hard to hang on to because the concepts were really difficult to grasp, this course is completely different. This course is designed to be just as easy as some of the high school classes that I took. And so if you have a teenager who is eager to learn how to invest and they want to learn, then I absolutely think this is a course that could be helpful and beneficial to them, because they'll learn exactly how to do it, how to build a foundation of safe investments, down to the exact websites to log into and buttons to press. Like, we make it as simple as humanly possible. And at the same time, begin to learn a little bit about some of the more speculative investments and how to kind of handle that risk appropriately without being kind of insane and just going a little bit too far with it. Now, the course wasn't designed just for teenagers. We really designed it for adults, but we made it simple enough for teenagers to understand. But I'll tell you what you probably already know, that no one is going to benefit from this more than teenagers who get a hold of this now. Because the earlier you get started investing, the bigger the impact is going to be later on. Because time is one of the biggest factors when it comes to the impact of our investments and how big they grow. In fact, I'll just add this. If you have a teenager now, one thing that I would recommend doing is opening up a Roth IRA for them as soon as possible. As long as they have earned income, as long as they have some sort of job that's generating income, they can open up a Roth IRA. And again, as soon as you can get the ball rolling for them, it's just going to give them so much more of a head start from you and I, from when we got started investing. And it'll be able to set them up really well for the future. So anyway, if you want to find out more about the course, we'll have a link down below. You can check it out, or just go to seedtime.com/10x to get all the details there. We would love the opportunity to serve you with this course and really just share a lot of the secrets that my investing mentor taught me 16 years ago. So I still remember sitting on his couch when he was kind of sharing all these things, and my mind was blown at the potential of what was available. And I didn't feel like, wait a minute, I only have like $50 or $100 to invest. And it just didn't feel like this was ever going to amount to anything significant. And I remember that fear and kind of wrestling with it, but I decided to get started anyway. And I'm so thankful that I did, because over these 16 years, it's just been amazing to see how much progress we've made, how far these investments have gone. And I'm really excited to see where we are another 15, 20 years from now. So my encouragement to you is, regardless, if you're not investing, consider getting started. It's so easy to get started these days. But if you want a little more help, definitely check out our course, and we can help you walk through that step by step. So that is all for today. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button so we can know that you enjoyed it. And if you want to become part of the SeedTime family, you can just hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you part of our community. And we'll see you in the next video.